Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Now, I don't normally make videos about movies which are currently on release in the theatre, but today I'm just going to make a slight exception to that and talk about the movie which I did go and see in the movie theatre today, and that was Kevin Costner's Horizon: An American Saga Chapter 1. Now, I'm not going to give any spoilers here. I just really want to talk about the fact that this is a new Western that's in chapters with a slightly uncertain future, and is it going to be worth seeing? Is it going to be worth sticking with? Now, for me, I absolutely love the Western genre. For me, when I was growing up, definitely John Wayne Westerns, John Ford, Howard Hawks Westerns, Anthony Mann with James Stewart. Those are the kind of Westerns that I really grew up with. Shane also was absolutely huge for me. So yeah, I've always loved Westerns. And when it comes to Kevin Costner himself, yes, in 1985, I was at the cinema to go and see Silverado, which was his breakthrough movie in a Western role. And then absolutely in 1990, I was at the cinema for Dances with Wolves, which I absolutely loved. I was there also for Wyatt Earp, which was admittedly a rather bloated Western, but still a really good one. And then I was also there for Open Range, which was the last Western that Kevin Costner directed in 2004. So here we are 20 years later, and Kevin Costner has now delivered another Western in movie theatres, Horizon: An American Saga. And it's reportedly going to be in 4 chapters, but at the moment we only have Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, which is going to be coming out mid-August 2024. So a few months ago, when I first saw the trailer for Chapter 1, I thought, yep, great, this is really exciting, I'm in for this, I definitely want to go and see it. And then we get to the Cannes Film Festival in May. Kevin Costner receives a standing ovation for several minutes, he's quite tearful, but the very next day it seems that critics then start giving their verdicts on the film, and it's a bit of a lukewarm response. And that lukewarm response seems to have snowballed a little bit more until the film's actual release. So then I find myself doubting myself a little. A few months ago I felt this real excitement from seeing the trailer. Now, as we're getting closer to the release date of the movie, doubts creep in. Is this a movie that I actually want to invest time in, go and pay for my ticket, go and see it in the cinema? Is it actually just going to come on streaming soon? And then with this question mark about whether the other chapters are going to get made at this stage because there may not be the funding for it, is it actually going to be worth it? And then I found myself looking into a little bit more about who's actually involved in terms of cast and crew, and a few doubts were creeping in there as well. Now, the story, that is written by Kevin Costner, but he has 2 other co-writer credits. One is a guy called John Baird. Haven't come across him before, don't have any other screenwriting credits to his name. And then the other person is Matt Kasdan. Now, he's the brother of Lawrence Kasdan, and he had, in fact, been a writer on Silverado. But still, that's not a lot to go on in terms of screenwriting, so you're not quite sure how good the script is going to be. And then when it comes to cinematography, the cinematographer on this is J. Michael Munro, and I must admit, looking at his filmography, there wasn't really a hell of a lot that was sticking out that was too impressive. He was the director of photography on everyone's least favourite Oscar-winning movie, Crash. But immediately before that, he did work with Kevin Costner on Open Range. And then when it comes to the composer, someone who's going to give us an epic Western score, the composer here is Derek Debney. And again, you look at his filmography over the last few years, and it's quite scary. It's movies such as Garfield the Movie, Clifford the Big Red Dog, Spy Kids, Armageddon. The list goes on. Scary stuff. However, Derek Debney did work with Kevin Costner before in 2014 on the film Draft Day, and he wrote some of the music on the Kevin Costner TV Western miniseries Hatfields and McCoys. So okay, technically I'm not filled with a huge amount of excitement in terms of how this film may look and how it may sound, and then we just have to rely on the strength of Kevin Costner as a writer, because I really don't know what the writing is going to be like from John Baird or Matt Kasdan. But I stuck with my original plan to go and see this in the movie theatre, not wait for it on streaming. And did that pay off? Am I actually going to want to go and see Chapter 2 now? And I'm really pleased to say, yes, I absolutely enjoyed seeing this in the movie theatre. And yes, I will definitely be there in August to go and see Chapter 2. Yeah, for me, this was almost like stepping back in time a little bit. This is an old-fashioned kind of Western. Some people are going to criticize it for being cliched and following familiar tropes. I hate that word. For sure, it does some of that, and some of the writing doesn't necessarily link all the various characters together seamlessly. But nonetheless, there's a lot of scene setting here, and I just really, really loved being in this environment. So we're back in 1859. We're in these amazing, gorgeous locations in Wyoming and Kansas. And we're being introduced to lots of different characters, lots of different things that are going on. Like I say, I'm not going to give any spoilers in this at all, but all I'm going to say is, yeah, this feels like an old-fashioned Western, and I, for one, am really pleased about that. I mean, really, since Dances with Wolves, Unforgiven in the 90s, yes, we've had more Westerns. They've tended to have been more of the revisionist kind of nature, or we've had the Quentin Tarantino Westerns, a few others such as Salvation or The Proposition or Bone Tomahawk, all variations on the theme of a Western, but nothing that feels like a traditional kind of Western. So here we are, we're back in kind of familiar territory, if you like. But if you like Westerns, then yeah, I think you should be able to have a really good time with this, in the knowledge that you are there for more to come. So yeah, Kevin Costner is taking his time here. Now, we know that can be a bit of a stumbling block. I mean, not that he directed it, but Wyatt Earp, I would say, is one that lumbers along a little bit. But here, I was totally fine with all the characters I was being introduced to, and I didn't do any clock watching at all throughout this. I was just really, really enjoying it. But yeah, Costner here really understands the old traditional format of a Western, and it's not looking to rewrite the rulebook here. He's here to just deliver a solid story. And the thing I love about Westerns, I think they're just such a blank canvas that you can use for telling all types of stories, which may have a lot of similarities, but they're all there to deal with good and evil, moral dilemmas, ethical dilemmas, masculinity, ego, all of these kinds of things. You can tell all these types of stories within a Western, and it can just be really, really exciting stuff. Now, the only thing I didn't like perhaps is just when we get to the very end of the movie, it doesn't really have like a to be continued type moment. It just launches straight into a whole montage of clips that were obviously from Chapter 2. So I just thought that was a little bit messy. But up until then, yeah, I had a thoroughly good time with this. Yeah, the locations are fantastic. The characters are interesting enough. There's lots of different strands that are going on. Maybe no great set pieces, although there's plenty of excitement there. But there's certainly this sense of more to come. But the big hope is that this can be made in its intended 4 chapters. I really don't know at the moment whether Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 are going to be coming. There seems to be this doubt about the funding for those, and then certainly critics aren't really helping at the moment by giving this quite sort of negative and ho-hum kind of reviews. And it is a tall order to ask people to go to the movies to see a movie that's not only in itself 3 hours long, but then also to return to the movies next month and go and see another 3-hour movie, and then wait indefinitely, it might seem, until the next one comes along. So yeah, that is a big gamble, but for me personally, I am really relieved I went to see this at the movie theatre. I had a great time seeing it. Yeah, no doubt it may come on streaming, and you can watch it that way. But yeah, for a Western lover, there's far too few traditional type Westerns that are being shown on our cinema screens nowadays. So take the opportunity if you can and go and see it. So there you go. I just came on here just to do some brief comments. I didn't want to do a full review. I don't want to give any spoilers or anything like that. Hopefully you can make up your mind yourself whether you want to go and see this. Like I say, I totally understand the gamble there about wanting to invest time and money in seeing not one, but 2 3-hour westerns. Do you really want to be doing that? But yeah, if you love westerns and if you love Costner westerns, then yeah, I think it's going to be a trip that's well worth making. Okay, thanks very much for watching this video. Hopefully I will see you again for some others. Okay, all the best to you. Bye-bye.